right, it is 7 p.m. I will call to order the regular meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this time, do we have any additions or deletions? I believe you have one, Mickey.
Well, that we wanted to move the one?
Well, you wanted to add the sale of the Braun ambulance, right?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking it was already on there, so yes.
Okay. So is there a second for that?
Second?
All right. All in favor of adding the sale of the 2009 well, hold on. Is there any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor of adding the sale of the 2009 Braun ambulance to action item number 8. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Bill, I believe you wanted to discuss some of
Yes, I
these
do.
items.
I'd like to see that we remove for discussion at a later time the millage on 3, the renewal of the open space, recreation, and the transit millage. I have a reason for that.
Hold on. So Bill is proposing to remove action item 3
For
and 7 because I've added one. I have to state that, don't I?
right,
Yes.
Well, I guess we
And
haven't changed the order yet. So
Correct. You might want to do them individually.
Okay.
Only because you may have someone who's in favor of one of them, but not two of them.
Okay,
I mean,
that's a good point.
this could get very confusing.
okay, so let's start with the millage on open space and greenways. Is there any support for removing that as an action item? If there's no support, Bill's
Support.
motion. Okay. So now we can discuss. Go ahead, Bill.
our township has a general future, looking at it financially, that has a lot of uncertainty. We have pensions, we have reserves for those pensions, we have reserves for health care liabilities, we have water pipes that the state of Michigan said we have to pay for. That was a mandate that was a few months ago, but it's some $30 million over 25 years. Just to give you some sense of proportion of what that means, our general budget for millage right now comes in at about $9 million. That's an additional $1.25 million on top of that 9. That's a big proportion. In that fund with the pipes is an example that sticks out in my mind. I just happened to remember it. They have a plan to spread the repairs out over 25 years, but the final repair to be made on Meridian at the end of Bridge Road on the north end will be 133 years old when that takes place. That tells me that there could be a lot of uncertainty as when some of that other stuff will go on. But there's other things that are happening too. So what I'm wanting to do is call attention to the fact that we have to be more careful with how we use our money than we did in the past. When we look at some of these things, we're going to be saying, hey, it's only $85,000 a year, or it's only $25,000 a year. But if you took the sum total of these things and added them up over their expected life of 4 or 5 years, 3 years, you might be talking $1 million. And we have to be more careful in the past, more careful now, in my opinion, than we were in the past. What I'm hoping to achieve after we pass this is to have the board sit down and review it with a more careful and watchful eye and more scrutiny. I'm not saying that the desires or the motives or the needs are unnecessary, but I'm saying that we're going to have to be perhaps more care in selecting the priorities and the choices we make, and that's the purpose of this.
Okay, so I want to keep debate about removing these from the agenda brief, right? Because we can debate the merits of the individual millages as they come up as action items. But is there, I assume you probably want to respond.
Wait, you want to keep debate about removing it brief? I'm gonna argue differently. I'm liaison to open space. This is the first that I'm hearing of this, so I have my cell phone with me. Anybody that knows me, my cell phone is with me. I answer it every time. I did not receive one phone call about this. I'm being surprised, right?
It's true.
I'm pretty good at reading people and understanding the situation, and if I were to guess, the Groesville Taxpayers Association was meeting behind the scenes and saying, well, you know what, here's what we can do. Let's take this off. You know, we're mad at Mickey lately, so we'll just take her millage off. Now, this one was rated the highest when there was a survey of people on Groesville and what was important to them, and it was open space. If we take this one off, which is one of the smallest millages, the smallest amount of money, we take it off, that means the people on Groesville will no longer be walking the trails. When the trees fall down, we won't have the funds to cut trees off those trails and keep those trails clean. What they're saying is they know better than the taxpayers. Instead of leaving it to the taxpayers to vote whether these trails are important to you and whether you're willing to spend a very, very small amount on this, they're saying they're smarter than you and they know better than you, so they will decide whether this should go to you or not, okay? So look up here and just figure out if you think they're smarter than you and they know better than you than what you want. And also think about their character for the fact that my phone is always with me and I did not receive one phone call. I did not even have the chair of the committee here to have an opportunity to speak because not one of them from the Taxpayers Association gave me a heads up that this was coming up. Now, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4 of them were on the Taxpayers Association, and I know they still go to meetings. The one in the back came in and said, it's going to be an ugly meeting. So they all knew this, they were all planning this, and not one had the courtesy to tell me. And again, this is the smallest millage. In the survey, people said it was the highest rated of what they want. So Groesville needs to decide, do they want somebody that represents them or just screws with them?
Okay, just as a quick point of order, no members of the Township Board are members of the Taxpayers Association. However, Bill, do you want to rebut that at all?
I would like to apologize, one, for not saying anything. At the same time, I'd like to explain, I had had that thought. But the idea popped into my head not that long ago. There was no meeting of everybody. It was to the extent a phone call here or there to see if introducing this idea might be a good idea. What I've talked about is a real issue. It's nothing about being sneaky here. Whether this passes or not, the stuff I brought up is going to come up someday. And I think that people need to be aware of that. I'm not asking them to enjoy or like what I'm talking about, but if you understand something, you have an easier time accepting it and cooperating.
First it was the bikes on it, and now it's this. And I'm sure you guys all had a conversation with Greg about it. There is no doubt in my mind.
Excuse me, Jim, are you saying that somehow bicycles came into my mind when I was doing this?
No, that came from the other end of the table. So that was the first thing that came, even though BPAC said, let open space decide whether to have bikes, and Jameson agreed with that. Then later Jameson said, well, no, we think we do want e-bikes on it, right? Because he knew I really felt strongly not to have e-bikes, that it messes up our trails, and we didn't have the funding to clean up for that. So now not only did he say he wanted e-bikes, even though it got voted down, now you're saying, well, now we're going to take your funding away. And I just hope you guys never, ever want to be on this township board again, because from this vote alone, I don't see you ever making it on the board again.
So,
Vote however you want,
Is
but
there other
Yeah.
members of the board that want to weigh in
so
on this?
I just want,
No, go ahead.
Let's go with Margaret, then
Yep,
Mark.
that's fine.
so I think Mickey makes very valid points, and I think Bill does too, but I also believe that if you want to remove an action item like this, today was not the day to bring it up. There should have been some sort of conversation. However, whichever way you want to view this particular request, this is my philosophy. whether I am in agreement with a millage or not, meaning as a voter, I do believe as a township board member, the right thing to do is to allow voters to make a decision. That's just how we should probably, in my opinion, operate, because it should be up to your voters. It shouldn't be me or anybody else gating their ability to say yes or no. And I think that's the right thing to do. Thank you.
All right.
I have something I can add to that last
Well,
comment.
I'm trying to avoid debating the issue too
sure,
much
okay.
since we're discussing actually whether it's just going to be on the agenda at all, right?
Thank you.
So, Mark, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, one, I don't appreciate some of the accusations that were thrown out there earlier, but regardless,
Especially when they're
this is,
true.
pardon me, this is
Especially when they're
an,
true.
excuse me,
Excuse
this,
me,
stop interrupting.
I'm gonna keep interrupting you.
You can't help yourself, can
Well,
you?
let's be ordered here. Mark is recognized, so Mark can speak now. Nobody interrupting you?
This is a new tax, is that correct? Not a renewal. Am I accurate in that statement?
Yes.
Okay. So, with the economic conditions going on across the country and within Groseal and with the residents here, I think piling on more onto their backs is the wrong thing to do at this point in time. I'm not saying this is going to be necessary down the line, but I think for right now, we shouldn't be piling more on the backs of our taxpayers. We shouldn't be doing it. In fact, with the exception of the fire department renewal, because I know their fire apparatuses are extremely expensive, I think all of it should be removed, me personally. However, this being a new tax, I'm against any new taxes at this point in time. And we also have a crippled police budget we're trying to figure out how we're going to fund it and how we're going to balance. I think any money from this should be going towards that right now, because public safety is of the utmost importance. I believe that, and I believe we should be more focused on what's going on with the police budget and see what monies we can shift over there as opposed to adding more money to the open space fund than they already have. I'm all
You've
set,
lost
thank
all
you.
credibility by not calling me ahead of time, and why don't you just vote it down? Why do you have to take it off the agenda? Because we will not have time to put it back on the agenda for the millage vote anyways, so just vote it down.
Yeah,
Take
and
the
that's a
consequences of voting it down.
valid point. So, okay, I don't know if you have anything to add, Kevin?
I would be happy, thank you. I would be happy to have discussion about it. The commission has enough money to do maintenance for the next, at least next, until 2028 in the spring, when they could bring this back to the group, to the board, and present it. I think the number one thing that taxpayers are interested in is making sure that our public safety is the best that we can afford. And there's also in there, you're asking, or the commission is asking for money for maintenance as well as purchasing more property. And I think the last time that was brought to the public voted down purchasing more property.
Okay, so you're saying, to summarize, you want there to be discussion on this?
I'm okay with voting not voting on it at this time, or we
Okay.
can,
So then so now there's only 6 of us here, right? So in order for any action to carry, 4 people need to support it, right? So in order to remove this action item, 4 people would have to vote to remove the action item. So I'll do a roll call. So I'll start with Margaret. So remember, a affirmative vote removes this as an action item.
Nay.
Okay? Bill?
Aye.
Mark? Margaret, or I'm sorry, Mickey?
Nay,
Kevin?
aye.
Okay, I'll vote nay, so it'll remain on the agenda. All right, Bill, you wanted to discuss the recreation millage?
Well, basically, the reasoning is the same. I'm thinking that in any one of these specific issues, the devil is in the detail. And there's one thing I need to ask a question on. When I've had my conversations, I thought there would be opportunity for discussion.
Well,
Or we voted on it, and would bring it back to the board on another moment in the agenda before this all went to the ballot. And the way I'm hearing it now, I feel like there's a rush in here that I wasn't aware of.
Well, Brian, what's the cutoff for ballot item, or ballot measures for
Right, so
the-
ballot language would have to be approved. We have one more meeting, August 10th. It has to be submitted to me on the.
August 10th would be the deadline.
Right.
Okay, so,
But you may need the committees to meet before that meeting, depending on
Absolutely.
what is done.
Absolutely.
okay, so, the recreation millage, do you still want to bring a motion to strike that from the ballot? Keeping in mind, we can still discuss it and vote it down in the regular meeting.
Yes, I'd like to do that again, and with the understanding that there's an expectation and representation made that it's coming back. I want more time for us to talk about this, given what I've elaborated at the beginning.
Okay, so is there any, is there a second for that, removing the recreation millage? Okay, no second, so there's no support for Bill on that one. Then we've got the renewal of the bicycle and pedestrian pathway. Is there a second?
I don't think I was putting that one on there. I had 3, 4, and 6, I think. it
Okay,
was.
so then the transit millage resolution, is there any support for removing the transit millage resolution from the agenda?
I second that.
Okay, Bill, do you want to discuss your open with your reasoning behind removing it?
I wonder if it's, that any conversation and effort on this issue is basically flapping our lips in the wind. We are a small amount of votes, whether we vote or don't vote. That bill is going to pass with all the people who want it in the other parts of Wayne County. The main point I've got behind that is that if we decide to put this up in front of the world, Warren Evans is big on this thing. We need Warren Evans to get the free bridge to work. Why insult him for some simple issue we're not going to have any impact on at all? We have to cooperate to get that toll bridge handled. I don't want to offend anybody. And I feel that this is wise to avoid.
Okay. Margaret, I believe this is your measure. Would you like a rebuttal?
Yeah, so I realize that this is Warren Evans' project, and I can look at this the exact same way that you're all proposing to remove what I would consider, as an example, rec department. That's a critical millage to this community. Whereas transit millage, no matter whose project it is not critical to this community. But again, we will be sending our tax dollars out to a millage that we won't be utilizing. And I think it's really important that our voting community understands that Macomb County and Oakland County alone have not received the promises from SMART that they voted yes for, and that's been over 4 years ago. So this is, if they are already watching, if they're aware, they already know about this, right? This isn't me trying to be disrespectful of Mr. Evans or anybody else. This is me, who was voted onto this board by the taxpayers of Groseal, who's very concerned for their tax dollars with respect to donating them to something that they will not get to utilize. And by they, I'm referring to the majority of Groseal taxpayers. So I don't find this to be offensive, or I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or be disrespectful. It's important to me that the voters understand what's going on with this transit millage and some of the details for it.
So, to clarify for the members of the audience and voters writ large, we're discussing a Wayne County millage, the SMART transit millage, correct?
Correct.
And it is a millage that the county has proposed, and this resolution that Margaret and probably several members of the administration have put together is to essentially state that we're displeased with the fact that we cannot opt out of the millage like we could from, I think it was 1994 to 2024.
Correct. We're one of 17 communities that were forcibly opted back in. And the reality is, even if we were opted back in, I would be okay with that if the majority of Groseal voters chose to vote yes on this. I'm more than happy to say, okay, that democracy has occurred here and we're moving forward and we're going to participate in the payment of this millage, but that won't be the case. like so many other millages for Wayne County. That's not the choice that occurs. We do have to get lumped in with them. And I'll also add, since it came back to me, that quite frankly, Wayne County should support us no matter what, whether we agree with them on a ballot item or not. We pay our taxes. Our community members pay taxes, and that shouldn't matter, you know, whether we agree or disagree. This isn't a personal thing. This is business. We're not always going to agree when it comes to business, as everybody clearly can tell up here. And that's the reality. I'm not trying to hurt Mr. Evans' feelings or anybody else in Wayne County. So that's my philosophy on this.
Is there anyone else that wants to?
Yes.
Okay, Bill, you opened the issue, so I'm gonna give these guys a chance to tag in, and then we'll come back over to
Okay.
you. And
I
I,
have comments too.
okay, do you want?
Which way do you want to go, James? Which
Go
side?
ahead, Mickey.
So from what I understand, the tax on this is pretty significant and it's for a long number of years.
10.
Okay, and we likely wouldn't get any services, or at least not for quite a while. And so you have open space where we get the nature trails, and it's a very small millage, and everybody on the island voted in the survey that it was very important to us, and they wanted to take that off. And then you have the smart buses where we're not going to get any services, we're gonna pay a lot of taxes for a long time, and they wanna leave that on to vote. Where is this coming from? I mean, where is it coming from?
Well, to be fair, I'm sorry, were you done?
And there were other cities that are doing the same thing to say, hey, people, we really want to call this out for your attention to understand that in the past, Groseal could just opt out of that. They changed that, so they're going to have the people vote on it, but we really want you to understand that you're likely not even going to get any services for this. So be careful when you see that on the ballot, and don't really expect to see buses driving around Groseal. It's just not likely to happen, so.
Yeah, so whether we support this resolution or not won't change the fact that we could potentially get stuck with this millage, since the county could have, we're only 5,000 voters, so. All right, Mark?
Yeah, that's why I wanted just to reiterate that. So regardless of how we vote on this, it doesn't really matter. It's on the ballot. It's a Wayne County, it's a county-wide ballot proposal by Wayne County. Us voting on this one way or the other isn't going to make a difference. It's going to be up to every voter on this island, just like was brought up earlier with open space, which is a valid point. It's going to be up to, I don't see the necessity for us to do this. We can double down, but it's not going to have any real merit. It's not going to send really any real message other than Wayne County other than, yeah, we don't want it. It's not going to change anything. I don't see the necessity for this particular action item.
All right. Kevin, do you have anything to add before I go back to Bill?
I'd like to add that I will not be voting for the transit millage. I think it is expensive. It is close to 1 mil. And just for taxpayers, so we know that if the millages that are proposed pass, our millage rate will go up to about 16.32 mils. And that's one of the higher millages that we have had over the years. So my other question, and I'm asking this generally, is did our legal counsel review this resolution? And was the resolution put together by, who put it together? The resolution, what it does is say that we don't agree with it, that we don't support it. My suggestion is that this be pulled from the meeting and that we put some teeth into the resolution and ask for something positive. And what we could ask for is to take this back to the state legislature and ask them to vote to give townships like Groseal the opportunity to opt out. Not just, we don't like it, we don't think it's a good idea, but that we go back and we say we want some action taken from our state legislator and state senator, that if the taxpayers have time to read this, it's not clear We're not asking them to do anything, we're just complaining. So let's ask them to do something, let's go back to work it out, and ask them to take this back to the legislature and reconsider forcing communities that do not get much service from the smart system to opt out.
Okay, and then Bill, I believe you wanted to,
Yes, I just want to make a couple of points clear. and
we'll loop back
reiterate.
to you, Margaret. Go ahead, Bill.
If you've listened to what has been said here, you realize that the issues we're talking about are technical, a bit sticky. They were presented by people who sincerely care. But there's not enough money to go around. That's the bottom line truth. And so while the law should give you something, there's not enough money available to cover the shoulds. And frankly, for as long as I've been, before I was an adult, I can remember arguments like this taking place with the government. The one I'm thinking of was 1952.
Hey, Bill, real quick.
He wants me to stop telling stories. Okay.
No, not the stories. It's just, this is a resolution to,
Well, I was explaining why the resolution's important and what the circumstance is.
but you motioned to remove this, and now you're talking about a
But I'm
fiscally
talking about
constrained environment.
removing it. I'm not talking about turning it down. I'm talking about it coming back on August 10th for discussion. I think that tonight, with all the issues on the agenda, there's not enough time to thoroughly discuss the technical points that each one of these issues brings up. And I wanted it to have a more thorough discourse than that. I'm not saying we don't see it again. I'm saying that we will see it again on August 10th.
Well, that's too late though, because we're voting on it August 4th.
Well,
That's,
there was a date when the next meeting was, and I was told that
So this isn't a millage for us. This is a resolution to tell Wayne County we don't like their millage.
okay, I wasn't aware of that.
So,
and so let me clarify a little bit too.
hold on, Bill, do
Okay,
you
sorry.
retract your motion then?
Well, let me
Or do
get
you
this
still
straight.
want to remove it?
I need to ask a question. Are the other two dates okay for a vote on the ballot? This one isn't? Is it something I didn't?
This isn't a millage that we're enacting and passing to the voters. This is a resolution by this board to denounce the Wayne County Smart Bus millage.
So it has a different decision date triggered to it.
Well, this isn't really, it doesn't have any legal action. It's just us saying as a board, we resolve that Wayne County should allow us to opt out of it.
Are we able to make a decision at a later time and do it with a collective conversation of all of us here before and bring it back to the meeting of the voters with the?
I mean, technically, because this doesn't have any like legal function, so I suppose it has no timeline.
Well, if
I
there's
think
no
to
timeline,
Margaret's
I don't see why
point,
we should
though,
put a debate on it. I don't want it to last forever, but I would like us to come back at one time and have an opportunity. That was what was behind the thinking here.
well, I think Margaret's point is she wants to signal to the taxpayers of Grosse Ile that we're paying attention to these kind of things.
I
Right.
think we're paying attention to them now with this discussion and with the discussion we would have if we had it later.
Okay, I guess I'll turn it back over to Margaret and then
Yeah,
let's
just really quick.
vote on
So
it.
there's very little I don't do that doesn't have some form of due diligence attached to it. So yes, I've already spoken with our state rep, and it's very clear that there is no opting back in anytime soon. This occurred during a lame duck session when the votes were available to force us, the 17 communities, back in, and the governor quickly approved that. So there is no getting us out of it anytime soon. I've already inquired about that, which is, something that somebody does when they're going through all of the dotting the i's and crossing the t's. So that has been done. My only goal for this, it does not make any difference to me if everybody agrees or disagrees. My goal is to make sure that voters understand what we're getting versus what we won't be getting. So if everybody up here wants to vote no, I'm okay with that. My goal is to make sure that the residents and the voters know that I'm paying attention and that we have this coming up and it's important to get out and vote. So thanks, Jameson.
Okay, so I think that's probably sufficient debate. Do another roll call vote. I'll start on the right this time with you, Bill.
Yay is one that says we
You need 4 votes to remove it. Yes, we'll remove it.
and then we come back with it later.
if that is your wish.
It's also the possibility or impossibility. This is on a different standard than the other two.
I think it's
Yes.
up to Margaret if she wants to bring it back, right?
I mean, anybody could bring it back, but
but-
she would,
There's no reason to bring it back. It's gonna be voted on by the 4th. But go on. I'm good with
I'm
what you're doing,
expecting it to be
Jameson.
voted on, but be voted on after we've had further discussion. We've had plenty of discussion now, but there might be need for more.
so let's vote. Bill?
Yes, I'd like to debate it and come back.
So you're saying yes, remove it from the agenda. Mickey?
No, don't remove it.
Okay. Kevin?
Yes, remove it from the agenda.
Mark?
Yeah, I don't see the validity for it. I mean, yes, vote remove.
Margaret?
No.
Thanks, guys.
We're split evenly, aren't we?
I will vote no so that it can be on the agenda and we can fully. So it is not removed from the agenda. I think that concludes adjustments to the agenda. Is there any other additions or deletions? Okay.
Did we move the fruit cheese?
Nope, I'll do that now.
Okay.
So I am going to move the naming of the East River Road Lookout to action item number 1. That will cascade the other action items. No other removals passed. So the agenda stands with action item number 1 being the naming of the East River Road, action item 2 becoming ordinance update to dangerous drug ordinance, and cascading down to action item number 8, which is the sale of the Grosse Ile Fire Department Braun ambulance. So I move that the agenda be accepted as presented, as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? No? Okay, let's move on to presentation. So, Ms. Urbani, would you like to introduce our guest?
So I'm here to introduce Zach Korber, who is an aide to State Senator Darren Camilleri. Darren has had a tribute to our beloved late resident Pam Frucci, and for quite a while, and so we're happy to present it today. Unfortunately, Darren is out of town, so Zach Korber will be presenting. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach, come on up.
Hi. Is it, do you need me to show this or?
You're welcome to set it there on the Elmo.
I won't read through all of it, but this is a tribute to honor Pamela Frucci and all the work that she's done, both for the people of Grosse Ile and the people of Michigan, through her work on many different commissions, boards, and other like work that she has done, such as like the Beautification Committee in Grosse Ile. As you all know, she was also appointed to the DNR. And was a grade school teacher, so she had a big impact, and we may truly never know the impact that she had or the amount of people that she impacted throughout her work, but we know that it was a very positive impact for both the people of Grosse Ile and the state of Michigan. So I will be presenting this tribute to her family in honor of her, so thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment limited to 3 minutes. Any volunteers? And I would remind the board that typically we do not debate the public. You're welcome to respond to them, but please introduce yourself and your
Sure.
address.
My name is Patty Posios. I am a co-organizer of a nonpartisan ballot question called Not Smart Wayne. I live in Plymouth Township, and we are also an opt-out community that's being dragged into this with probably no service in return, just like you guys. We are also facing other millages that are local. In November, we have a school millage. That's going to be 1.5 mills, and that's going to stay in our school district, though. It's not going to Wayne County to do whatever they want with it. So, you know, you've talked a little bit about the history. All of our Wayne County state reps and state senators, except for 2, voted to take away our right to opt out, including Darren Camilleri and Jamie Churches in 2024 in that lame duck session. So it's important who we elect to state senate. I mean, people don't always look at that, right? They always focus on federal, but we got to pay attention. So anyway, we talk a little bit. We've been studying the facts for a year and a half now. The average ridership on these buses is 3.88 riders per bus. The SMART system is 97% subsidized by taxpayer dollars. Their pension hole was 72 million when we started. Now it's showing 20 million. We think they just maybe had some good luck in the stock market. We're not sure, but anyway, so pension deficit anywhere from 20 to 72 million. And only less than 1% of this money, 550,000 of the 57 million annually, is for senior citizens. So I'm guessing you probably have something here on Grosse Ile, maybe you don't, I don't know, about shuttles going around for seniors. Our community does, Northville does, Livonia, Canton, everybody does something for seniors and paratransit locally, right? So, you know, they're touting this, they've sent mailers, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of mailers, calling it a renewal to opt-out communities. It's not a renewal. This is a new tax for over 1 million people, including the city of Detroit, who already pays for buses. They have DDOT. So this is 57 million a year. It's a 10-year tax. Grosse Ile's portion, I believe, is around $820,000 annually. That probably would fund your millages here that you guys are discussing that would stay on the island. But this is the situation we're in. Also up where I'm in, Plymouth Township, you know. So, you know, I know you have your resolution on here. I encourage you. The resolution basically sends a message, you know, that you're, like Margaret said, you're standing up for your taxpayers. And keep in mind, something else you can do, just messaging. We're trying to get it out to as many people as we can. This is new. And even the ballot language, if you've read it, it doesn't say it's new. They're calling it a replacement. Well, I looked on my tax bill, and it doesn't replace anything that's on my tax bill. So I encourage everyone to vote no. Every vote matters. Doesn't matter that you're only 5,000 people in this community. There's a very strong anti-tax sentiment right now. The buzzword is affordability. So I tell everyone, take affordability in your own hands and vote no on any new taxes.
Okay.
And that includes this one. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
May I ask a question? So.
You don't have to answer it, but he can ask it.
My question is, we're just complaining in this resolution. It's just, we're complaining that we don't like it. If we take action and vote to send a letter to our representative to make every effort to turn this around.
Hold on, Kevin. This isn't really a question. This is you're using the question to make a point, so I'm going to stop you since this is public comment. Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
I would like my question answered, though.
Well, no,
I don't know what
you're
your
using
question-
it. You're using it to make a point instead of actually asking a question. So
No.
yes, you
Thank you,
are. So we're going to
Jameson.
stop. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And next public comment, please.
I think I can square a bunch of these circles. My name is Matt Wilk. I'm from Northville Township. I'm also one of the co-organizers of Not Smart Wayne. Let me answer a couple of your questions very quickly. Mr. Heel, the reason why you can't pause this debate until the next meeting is that the vote is next Tuesday. So you want to let your voters know what you think you should do with this tax. To the Township Treasurer, to answer your question, the representative that you currently have is Riley Linting. She's running in a campaign against Jamie Churches. She would love to repeal House Bill 6088, which took that right away. But since that was passed through the House, the Senate, and the governor and the Senate are not changing hands, you won't have that opportunity to do it even if you wanted to. Because Darren Camilleri will not vote for that, and Governor Whitmore will not sign that. Let me get to the remainder of my comments, just so you guys know what this tax is and is about. And I'm going to share for you with some information that I got just today that is startling about what's going on here. So we talked about it's 3.88 riders per bus. It costs SMART $3.70 to move one person 1 mile. It is literally the most inefficient system you could possibly have. As a frame of reference, DDOT is 33% more efficient and has almost twice the number of riders on their buses. Okay, so to Trustee Shelton's point, which she talked about, in 2022, SMART went to Oakland County and laid out a map of bus lines that they told the world they were going to get. We had one of our volunteers 4 years later, 2026, compared the promises to the deliveries and found numerous lines that were not delivered, including to Oxford, Clarkston, down the Western Lakes region. What they've said they're giving to you is a bus that goes over one bridge and comes back across the other bridge. If anybody here thinks that's actually going to happen, I have another bridge to sell you. It's in Brooklyn. But let me share with you the piece of information that I got today that was the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. We are facing a group that is pushing this called Wayne County Transit for All. The group that I represent is a grassroots group of volunteers. I think the largest donation we got from somebody was $370. Where did they get their money and how much did they get? $1.1 million to push this tax. If you look on the screen, you can see where it came from.
You've got about 1 minute left.
This won't take 1 minute. Dan Gilbert, $300,000. If you look on the next page, Mike Illich, $250,000. Tenet Health, they own the DMC. They're a not-for-profit that owns the DMC. $100,000. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. Have they denied one of your claims recently? They spent $50,000 pushing this tax. But the best one is the first one on the list. It's an entity called Michigan Energy First. They are a 501c4 dark money entity funded by DTE. Your tax dollars and your electricity dollars are going to DTE through it to push a $570 million tax. You can take your position on whether you think this is a good idea or bad idea. Buses, we've said a lot of times, we're not against buses per se. What I am against is the government spending $1.1 million of money to push this bus tax. What we would like you to do, please, is take up the resolution, indicate your disapproval, and then to the treasurer's point, then let's work on our House and get that bill repealed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you state your name and address?
I can.
If you could for the record.
Matthew Wilk, 17245 Cameron Drive, Northville, Michigan.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is there any other members of the public that would like to give comment? Kathy Walker? I don't have your address memorized, just your name.
26051 Thorpe. I'd just like to clarify something that was misrepresented today. I'm a member of the Taxpayers Association. There's been no meeting. I'm there. There's no meeting. So I don't know where you get this false stuff and to spread it like that. It's not good. It's not a good look for you. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay, so, oh wait, all right, Bert.
Okay, Roberta Urbani, 29815 East River. So I'm going to break the mold here and speak in support of the transit initiative. And this was very interesting information that these people provided, and I would look into it some more. I'm not saying that SMART is super efficient, and maybe it is as inefficient as they say. And then it needs to be changed. But I just want to ask Grosse-Ile residents, what if we asked other Wayne County residents if they want to opt out of funding that goes to Grosse-Ile? What if we want to, what if they want to say, I don't want to pay for the free bridge and the repairs. I don't want to pay for the bridge that connected Upper Hickory Island to the mainland. How many people from all the vast communities in Wayne County drive on our roads? But they pay for them. I'm sure that our taxes don't cover every single expense that we incur on this little, very special island that we live on. So Why can't people from Plymouth and Northville and Grosse Ile and Allen Park and Detroit agree that we need things and we should all pay for them that benefit all of us? And stop being so selfish.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment?
I do have three.
Okay, read
Sorry.
them into the record, Brian.
All right. First one, Christine Davis Boucher. I'm very glad to see the community exercising their right to vote and to display signs regarding their vote. My comment is I wish people would educate themselves on the state of Michigan rules and regulations regarding political signs. They must be on your private property, not on berms or easements. See the Michigan rule below. She did copy and paste these, so just real quick. In Michigan, political signs are regulated by state right-of-way laws, local municipal ordinances, and campaign finance identification requirements. Key rules govern MDOT political signs regarding placement restrictions, removal timelines, and mandatory disclaimers. Placement and location rules. Public property and right-of-ways. It is illegal to place signs on public property, utility poles, or within the public road right-of-way, typically stretching 33 feet from the center of the road or near curbs and sidewalks without explicit government or owner permission. State highways and MDOT rules under guidelines for the MDOT political signs policy. Signs on state roads with barrier curbs must sit more than 3 feet back from the curb. Signs are strictly banned on limited access freeways, ramps, and cannot block driver visibility at intersections or driveways. Also, it must be stated who paid for the signs. Seizure, illegally placed signs in state right-of-ways are subject to immediate removal by road crews and typically held for about 7 days before disposal. Identification and disclaimers, campaign finance MCL 196.247. Under Michigan Legislature MCL 169.247, printed campaign materials and paid advertisements must feature a clear identification or disclaimer stating who paid for the item, paid for with regulated funds by, along with the name and address of the committee with limited exceptions, as well as people passing out pamphlets or signs may not be placed within 100 feet of the entrance of polling place. I guess that we can all respect the rules regarding signs, voting policies, etc., and most of all respect each other. Okay, next one. Mary Bresnahan, Bellevue. Good evening. I'm speaking tonight regarding transparency and the compliance with the Michigan Campaign Finance Act. Recently, numerous vote yes signs for the upcoming police millage have appeared across our community. Many are placed illegally on public easements and right-of-ways. More concerningly, these signs completely lack the mandatory identification and disclosure language required by state law. On Friday, July 24, I brought this to the attention of our Deputy Clerk, Brian Friel, Township Clerk, Jamison Yeager, and Township Supervisor, Joe Porcerelli, via email. I got a reply back from Brian Friel telling me that if an individual spends over $100 and files an independent expenditure report, no disclaimer is required. This is a direct misstatement of Michigan law under Section 47 of the Michigan Campaign Finance Act, MCL 169.247. Any printed material that expressly advocates for a ballot question must bear a clear disclosure stating who paid for it, regardless of the money spent. Filing an independent expenditure report does not grant an exception. Furthermore, it was instructed by Brian Friel that I could find out who paid for the signs by contacting Wayne County Elections. I spoke with the campaign manager who sent me information via email. In the email, it had indicated that the one person who filed an independent expenditure report was Scott Longton in favor of the Grosse Ile Township Police Millage. Since Scott is the chairman of the Police Commission, I find that a conflict of interest. I have also sent in an email to the state in regards to my concerns. I spoke with someone today who verified that they received it, but due to their busy schedule, they could not give me a time frame for a reply. They said it should not be long. Once I hear back from them, I can share that with the Township Board as well. The residents of Grosse Ile deserve a fair, legal, and transparent process. I expect this board to enforce our local sign ordinances impartially and to ensure that township officials are held to the strict boundaries of Michigan campaign law. Thank you. And my final one. Scott Thiessen, Island Drive. The question contained in my public comment from the last meeting was never answered, despite the supervisor instructing I be contacted with an answer. Under Chapter 285, prohibited home occupations lists tourist homes as a prohibited land use and/or home occupation for residential districts. I believe the context of the term tourist homes was meant to include short-term rentals like Airbnb, Vrbo, etc. If this isn't correct, then would someone from the township please contact me and tell me why? That is all I have.
All right, thank you, Brian. Anybody that wishes to address any of the public comment are welcome to do so in their reports. So let's move on to the consent agenda. Kevin, do you want to read that into the record and make a motion?
I move that the Township Board approve the consent agenda 26048.
Second.
Thank you. Consisting of the minutes of the July 13th, 2026 regular meeting, check and invoice registers dated through July 24th, 2026. And
I think that's it.
that is it.
Yeah, there's no, the minutes are, okay.
Is a second in order?
Nope, there's a second. So is there any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved, and we will move to action item number 1, which has been renamed from action item number 7. So take it away.
Okay. So the Groseville Township Board hereby dedicates the Macomb Street East River Road Lookout after Pamela Frucci. So just to give you a little bit of background.
You need a second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
Thank you. So, I don't know if you remember at an earlier board meeting, John Rathel came in and said, we would be crazy not to do something to recognize Pam Frucci. And he was telling us all the wonderful things that she did, and a couple things really registered with me. And so I started talking to the family, and then I reached out to Bert, and Bert's like, well, I want to do something anyways, Roberta Urbani. And then we started talking to Marty and Jay some, and we all got involved in it. And then I heard a story about in her last few days when she was looking out the window and always loved the swans, and all of a sudden all these swans came up and she saw them and was just kind of watching them and made her last days really, really nice. And so when we were looking at something to name in her honor, one of the things that came to mind was the Lookout. And so just thinking about, you could go there and think of Pam and all the wonderful ways that you knew her and the things that you loved about her, and maybe even sit down and say a prayer and just remember her. And so we brought that up to the DDA, and they actually sent us a little note here. Ron Moran did, and he said, at the May 28th meeting, the DDA passed a resolution in support of the naming of Macomb Street Overlook after Pam Frucci, and the board was in full support of honoring Pam along Macomb Street with the DDA district boundaries with the plaque or some other design. The final design was to be discussed with the Frucci family for their approval. And Pam, not one to sit around and just let the family do it on their own. This weekend, my husband and I went to Sunrise Park, and we were sitting down there, and we actually saw a black mink in the water. And somebody came down the stairs. This woman walked down the stairs, and I turned and I looked at her and I said, perfect timing, there's a mink in the water. And she started to talk to me. And, you know, I didn't know the family, all the family that well. I knew Jay well, but she said she was in from Utah. And I'm like, Frucci? Are you a Frucci? She goes, I'm Marty. And so I truly believe Pam even brought us together yesterday. And so, anyways, on this, we just want to move to name that, and to have a beautiful, almost like a wrought iron or a metal arch over it that has her name and calls it the Lookout. And so, if we could have, do we go ahead and have a vote on that, or how does that
Well, I
work?
think, Jay, did you have I know you sent me a message earlier. Did you have a design or anything you wanted to show?
Bert and Marty?
I'm sorry, the only thing I had was the letter from
Oh, okay. All right, I misunderstood then. I thought you had a whole sketch going. So we'll get there. Okay, all right. My apology. That's my fault, not your fault. Okay, so. Okay. All right, great. Yeah, and when that's ready, we can unveil it here at the. Well, I guess it would be up to Joe.
Yeah, so I think the idea will be, we'll have that, and it almost looks like a metal railing. It'll go up and then over and down, and then we'll also do a plaque that talks about some of the things that she did for Groseal. And then I hope to maybe have some kind of celebration of life the family could have later this summer, right? And we could get together at the Lookout and kind of unveil it. And there will also be a place to park your bikes there too, right?
Yeah, I want to emphasize, and other people are welcome to, other members of the board are welcome to make remarks as well. But I think I can speak for the body of Groseal Township that Pam Frucci had a significant impact on this community. You can look back through legislation and ordinances, school children, clubs, right? And that's kind of the thing about living in a smaller place, is that a single person can have a big impact there. So I think this is aptly brought forward and timely, and I think well deserved. So I don't know if there's any further comment, or we want to drive on. Okay.
I'd like to move that we vote on this.
Okay, so all in favor of the naming of the East River Road Lookout in honor of Pam Frucci, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we are good to go. So it is hereby decreed by the authority of the Township Board.
On behalf of the family, thank you very much.
Well, we're grateful for your mother's service. And then we will move into other, I guess, less interesting topics. So, Margaret, do you want to bring this one forward? It's formally action item number 1, but is 2 now.
Right. So I'd like to recommend Township Board approval on ordinance updates to Dangerous Drugs Ordinance, Chapter 88-1, 88-5, and 88-8 to comply with the current state laws on controlled substances.
Second.
So upon the recommendation of the Groseal Police Commission at the meeting on July 21 of 2026, we asked Township Board approval on the ordinance updates to Dangerous Drugs Ordinance, Chapter 88, to comply with current state laws on controlled substances. I don't know if there's any questions.
No, this doesn't have a specific list of controlled substances. It just states that we are complying with the state controlled substance. We're essentially aligning with the state
It
controlled
inherently
substance.
lists,
Right.
it doesn't list every drug per se, but yes.
And it does have, it also, I don't know if I would call it a benefit, but it allows Groseal to charge these crimes under Groseal ordinance as opposed to county law or state.
Correct. It allows officers to continue addressing the controlled substance violations through the township ordinance when appropriate, rather than relying completely on state charges. It allows them to, think of it, it's very similar to the concept of the truancy ordinance. It allows local enforcement to resolve appropriately through the 33rd district, and, it's an efficiency, if you will. We
Okay.
maintain our accountability for these offenses.
It actually saves taxpayer money because police officers do not have to travel as far to get to court.
Right, which is what I said during the truancy discussion.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we'll have to do a roll call vote on this because it is an ordinance change, and I believe it, did I start on the left last time, Margaret?
No.
Okay, then I will start with you.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mickey?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. It carries unanimously. Okay. And then the fire department millage.
Okay. So the Groseal Township Board hereby adopts the following language be sent for review to Wayne County with the intent to be placed on the November 2026 Groseal Township General Election ballot. Can I get a second there? Or
Second.
Do I need to read the full?
You could say reference the board packet.
So we'll reference the board package on this. So basically, this is for all the equipment for the fire department. And in the past, we've always used this very fiscally responsible. Matter of fact, Fire Chief Roscoe is out in Pennsylvania right now picking up a fire truck. They've always been very good about saving the money, saving long-term, and getting the equipment that they need for the fire department. And so this is a way that they can do it without having to come for a large millage. They're very careful in how they spend their money, and they're very careful to take care of their equipment. I called Chief Roscoe today, and he's very excited and will be home soon to be able to show the new ladder truck. But this millage here is just the normal renewal for the equipment for the fire department.
And this is 0.4818 mils for a estimated $403,000 in the first calendar year levied for a period of 2026 to 2030. So any debate on the renewal of the fire department equipment millage? All right. We don't have to do roll call on millages, do we? Okay. Millage language. All right. Then we'll vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Is the
And
next
then-
one?
Yes, you're up.
Let me click on that one next. Oh, is the next one open space?
It is.
Okay, the next one is the Grosedale Township Board hereby adopts the following language: be sent for review to Wayne County with the intent to be placed on the November 2026 Grosedale Township general election ballot. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, this one is the new millage for Greenways open space. It is a new millage because we've been really good with the money on the Greenways open space. We have not asked for anything in years and years. So if I look back at my notes, I'm sorry, I'm just looking. Since 1994, residents have supported the open space program by approving 4 renewals and 2 renewals of the maintenance millage. The maintenance millage expired in 2002 and has not been assessed since then. At that time, the Greenways Open Space Committee and the Township Board felt the maintenance fund was sufficient to pay costs for 20 years. In 2011, the renewal of the 1 mil acquisition millage was declined. Since 2011, the acquisition millage has not been assessed by the township. As of March 2026, the acquisition fund balance was $48,267, and the maintenance fund balance totaled $67,442. Annual average maintenance fund expenditures total in excess of $44,000. After the 26-27 budget year, the maintenance fund will be almost exhausted and unable to meet funds needed to just have basic maintenance expenses. The Greenways Open Space Committee has been prudent managers of the open space program, overseeing 600 acres of open space preserves and 7 major trails. Matter of fact, we often have the chair and one other gentleman that cut down trees whenever they can instead of hiring it out and paying somebody else. Let's see what else. We're asking for just 1/10 of a millage, the funds which may be used either for property acquisition, but you know what, for the small amount that we're asking for, I don't see us buying any property at all. It most likely just all go for the maintenance and supplies to keep our trails natural and safe. In the polling, I think I mentioned, we did the polling when we did the new master plan. Preservation of open space was in the number 2 priority, right at the top, an essential component in what makes Grosedale a great place to live, work, and play. It was mentioned earlier by the treasurer that DPS could do this, but you know what? Open Space Commission has been doing it for a long time. We do a great job with it, and it's the number 1 priority for the commission. If you turn it over to DPS, it will no longer be the number 1 priority. It will come after water, it'll come after sewer, it'll come after all those other things that they're in charge of, the bridges, other things, right? So, you know, it's that kind of thing. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I think they do an amazing job. I don't see DPS going out there the head of DPS with the chainsaw cutting down trees. And so I see no reason for change. I also don't believe there is any DPS commission meeting where they voted and said that they would take this over and take it out of their budget. And so I think that was improper to say that DPS would pick this up. Nothing was said to me prior to this meeting, which again, I don't think leads to credibility. I also think it's somewhat arrogant at the last minute to ask to take somebody else's agenda item off instead of calling that person and having the discussion. This is something that's very important to people. It works great. I think everybody loves open space trails. We're looking at creating a new trail soon. So I hope that this will stay on the agenda and it'll get voted, appropriately. So thank you.
Okay, we have already partially debated this a little bit, so let's just make sure we're not beating dead horses. What further discussion do we have?
I would like to immediately say that I did not say that the DPS commission should take over the Open Space Commission and do their work.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Any other discussion on this?
I've got a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Bill.
When is this item voted on? Is there a chance to review it in more detail before it comes to the public for a vote?
August 10th would be the last time we could vote on this in order for it to make it on the November ballot.
There are some issues in here that I'm concerned about. When I had my opening remarks way back at the top of the meeting, I'm not in favor of the portion of this document at this moment that refers to acquisition of land. This main single source of money that accrues to a township is property tax. That's land. And we're facing some times in the future that are going to be, at this point, unknown and not irresponsibly predictable as expensive. And if we're taking that off the tax rules as a possibility, I'm not threatening to do something. I have no idea of what I would be talking of. But we need the alternatives. I'm hoping we can have some discussion about an issue like that between now and August 10th. That's my position on this.
Phil, if I may, for $83,000, we're not going to purchase any land. We couldn't for $83,000. The reason that we put those two millages together is because at some point down the road, even if it's 10 years from now, if we decide at some point to purchase land and ask for a bigger millage, then we don't have to have another new millage. There's no reason for us to have two separate millages, right?
Well, maybe you can clarify something for me. What I'm expecting is it's $83,000 a year for how many years?
We put it in here, right? Wasn't it for 3 years?
2026 through
Okay, so
2020.
$83,000 for 3 years is $240,000, am I right?
Yeah,
It's not just $83,000. That's where my head's at. That's what I'm saying.
right. But we're not going to be, there is no plans to purchase any property. We just didn't want two running millages. It was just more paperwork, more writing the millages. That was the only intent of that.
May I?
I understand your concern. I do, but
What I'm getting back to here in a way is that $9 million as a tax income for our community is nickels and dimes. But eventually, if we save enough nickels and dimes, we have $1. And we're gonna need that in the future. And that's why I'm talking this way. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about some of this stuff, but I don't think it's the case. And it's not pleasant what I'm bringing up, but I would like the public to be aware that it's gonna be tight.
All right, Kevin?
Again, the Open Space Commission has somewhere between $80,000 and $115,000 in their account. And they could use that and bring this back to the board in the spring of 2028. I find it, I understand and I appreciate what the Open Space Commission does. I do not think that the purchasing of property should be combined with maintenance because they are totally different things. And you might have one group that tries to buy, leaves maintenance high and dry. So I also think that we have to say, you know, make do with what you have, and we can review this again after, we can't review it next year, or we can't vote on it because there are no election days next year.
Could have we could have a special election.
We
but,
could, but
yeah.
that's expensive also. The idea is that they have enough money to do what they do. They spend about 44 grand a year doing maintenance. There is enough money to do that. They can come back in 2028 and ask for more money. If they would like to have, if the group Open Space would like to purchase property, they can always come to the board and say, we have some, you know, fantastic opportunity, please consider this. I think that the Open Space, I would like them, or suggest that they go back and separate these two things as that was what was done historically, so that, period. So.
Okay. Mark or Margaret?
No, I've said my piece earlier.
Margaret, do
I'm
you
ready
have
to
anything
vote.
to add?
I'm going to say it's very clear to me, based on the numbers, that no property is going to be purchased from this, but I don't want to be a gatekeeper for democracy. I do feel that they've brought this up, they feel they need it, it's got valid points, and I think voters can determine, you know, what they choose to do. That's the purpose of voting.
Okay.
I just think it's a shame. This is a personal vendetta against me. If you had brought this up, he would never have had a comment. And so people at Groseal, you're going to lose your open space because Kevin doesn't like me. So, sorry, I apologize for
Bill
that.
brought the motion to remove it, though.
Yeah, but you guys are all in the taxpayers, so I apologize for that. They're going to lose their open space because of this.
That's not true.
That's a
It is
ridiculous
true.
Okay,
statement.
well, let's keep.
It is true.
I think that's I'm not going to say what I think that is. Anyway, I'll weigh in here. So, I love the open space. I use the open space often. I cut wood in there in the winter. I take my kids out there in the summer. I run in there year round. And I would never do anything to reduce the amount of open space we have now. But I just did some quick bar napkin math, right? So you've got 600 acres of open space. If you divided them into quarter-acre lots and built houses, and those people paid taxes, that would be $24 million a year, right? So that's probably enough open space. Like, if we continue to purchase open space, we continue to reduce our taxable households. So I would be more comfortable approving this if we struck from it and for future purposes of land by Groseal Township for use as greenway and open space.
That sounds reasonable also.
You know, if we strike that line, I will support the millage language.
Wait a minute, so you're saying strike the part that has land in it right now, right?
So I highlighted it here, and for future purchases.
That sounds reasonable, because
Of
I don't
land.
think you have the funding to even purchase land from there.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing. Once again, my phone is with me at all times, and I did not get one phone call. The commission did not get one phone call. As a courtesy, I should have gotten a phone call before this meeting. Now I'm stuck where I can't even have a conversation with my chair or any of my members, okay? So I'm willing to strike that, but I just want, I'm hoping that people are watching this meeting and seeing how this business is being conducted. There's no reason for this.
Well, I think
There's no reason for this.
we're conducting business in an open meeting before the people of Groseal Township.
But do your homework. Do your homework and look at this. There is no reason that, okay, first of all, nothing's going before the attorney now, right? Nothing's going before the attorney. So we're making last minute changes to something as important as millage language. There is no reason that I did not get a phone call before this meeting.
Okay, never mind.
Just accept it. I mean, just say yes.
You
I
probably
should
have
called you
me,
before.
you have me blocked, first of all, so I could not have called you. If you want to get
Jameson,
technical
I
about
have
it.
you blocked for good reason.
Okay,
buddy.
so
So-
before we go down this
For
path,
good
because we were
reason.
doing so well, I really, I
Oh, is that the
think
one
you,
from taxpayers laughing?
I think you all have valid points. I think the fact is, Mickey's not necessarily incorrect. If we had seen something in advance, she probably should have been contacted in advance. To Jameson's point, I do believe that it's not an inappropriate ask. It makes sense, and I'm sure if anybody had looked at this sooner, that had a concern about it, yes, to Mickey's point, we would have addressed it, and I'm sure your commission would be in alignment with it, I would hope, because it does seem reasonable. So would it be okay, before we derail things, to perhaps strike that? Would you be in agreement with that, or, you know?
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be in agreement with it. I'm gonna let you guys vote for it, and you guys take the consequences, because now you're making a change, you're making it last minute, and you're doing it without having any conversation or any feedback from the commission,
That's
okay?
not, may I speak?
Go
Well,
ahead.
you can cut me off, go
Oh,
right
go, no,
ahead.
finish your point and then Kevin will talk.
So my point is, again, we're going around our commissions. There is no reason that this couldn't have been brought up so that I could have had a commission meeting, had that conversation, had that discussion with the public able to weigh in. And instead now it's coming down last minute, right? Where we're putting our thoughts ahead of theirs, right? We no longer have legal feedback on it or anything else, right? So I'm gonna say no, but that's okay, because you guys can do it.
Well, we actually can't. So you.
Because it's my motion?
It's your motion, so if you're unwilling to accept changes, it will stand as it is.
So can I ask a
I
question
would like
then?
to speak.
Sorry, I
No,
did
so
say.
I'm gonna ask a question
would
Hold
really
on,
quick.
hold on. I said I would recognize Kevin next, so let me recognize Kevin and then I'll recognize you, Margaret. So go ahead, Kevin, please.
I appreciate open space. They are beautiful spaces. We have enough money, they have enough money to do 2 years of maintenance if they spend the same amount of money as they've spent last year. So we don't have to actually ask for this year or at this time. We're going to be up to 16.3 mills. That's an increase of about $1.7 million on taxes, and that's about $400 bucks per home, roughly. And those are rough numbers. I think that the taxpayers spoke the last time they voted to not put any, to purchase any new property. I think there is enough money, and that's, when are we going to stop raising taxes? That's the question. When are we going to be careful, put together a plan to present to the board on how you would like to spend the money going forward? So, thank you.
All right,
But you forget the
Margaret.
part that this is subject to a
Hold on,
vote.
hold on. I've recognized Margaret. Margaret, go ahead, please.
So, I don't know, there is enough time, correct, Brian, if they wanted to review this as a commission and bring it back to the next meeting?
Yeah, correct. It would need to be passed by, it has to be passed by this board before the 11th, because it has to be in my hands to send to the county on the 11th.
So, I know that this isn't the way you wanted it to go, but, we can go either way.
My answer is no.
Okay,
And
okay.
if they ever want to be on this board again, if they want to vote down one of the most important things to Groseal, they can do it and they can take the consequences. Because they will never sit on this board again if they vote down an open space millage. So have at it, people. If you
Okay.
think you're smarter
Okay.
than the voters, have at it.
Do you have any further comment, Margaret?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so, I'll make my comments. So Kevin is correct. Our millage is currently over 16. Our total mills is over 16. I don't have the chart in front of me. It's probably the highest in 20 years. Not to mention home values. Yeah, so here's the chart. But anyway, I mean, it's high, right? And home values have gone up everywhere in the United States and in Groseal. So I do believe the people of Groseal are going to face significant sticker shock when they open up their 2027 tax bills. I know I probably will. And I realize there's some folks that just don't care and they're like, yep, I'll pay my taxes, all good to go. But I think there's a lot of people in Groseal right now, and the folks from Not Smart mentioned it, who are very sensitive to taxes right now. So I am happy to pass the open space millage on to the voters, but not so long as it contains the language that we are going to buy more land. I think that is a false step, and I think they will reject that.
If I may, why not cut BPAC and have DPS take care of those paths, or recreation or any of the other ones that weren't rated as high in the survey.
Well, I'm not recommending that we cut this millage, right? I'm just saying, please remove the language about the purchase of the future land, because I think the voters are going to rebuke that, and this millage might not even carry. Like, they are extremely sensitive about taxes right now.
But let them decide.
Have a study
That's the
session.
intent.
Can we just call a vote?
But you've already said that it has to be up to me right now whether to change it, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so let's vote, because I'm not changing it.
Okay, then we will once again do a roll call vote. Remember, voting in the affirmative carries this millage in its current form with its current language. There's been no changes. So, Bill?
I'm gonna turn it down.
So that's a nay?
Hey.
All right,
I'm
Mickey?
gonna-
Aye.
No.
Kevin?
No.
Mark?
No.
Margaret?
Aye.
I'll vote no. So, not that it would matter, it was 3-3. All right, so it does not,
So we're hung at this point.
well, my no vote made it 4-2, but it would have been 3-3 either way. And
Okay, so you guys just voted down the millage for Greenways open space.
yes, in its current form. So you
Well,
could,
I'm not bringing it back, so
Just a
you
s-
just voted down the
just a
millage for
second.
Greenways open space.
I need a minute here on the floor.
Okay. no,
You just voted it down.
we voted it, the
I
issues.
know that. I
Oh,
wanna
you
talk
voted it
about
down.
Okay,
James-
well, let's all, hold on, Bill, what's your concern?
Voted it down.
We have some time before the 11th or the 10th, whenever it is. and I
Yes,
hope
somebody
I'm
can
accurate
bring
on
the,
that.
somebody can bring the millage back without that language.
And I think that it's important for people to understand that. I just want to affirm that and get it on the floor right now. We haven't thrown it out with the bathwater.
Okay, so you're gonna not only bring it back, you're gonna go around my commission, you're gonna go around me, you're gonna change the language and bring it back the way. Now, that's not arrogant, is it?
I
Okay,
believe that the statutes say that we have the final authority on
yes,
these
as the
things.
board, we have that authority, so.
And that's not arrogant.
All right, so,
May I?
I don't know.
No, I just want to say, for the record, I did speak with Mr. Stevenson,
Please don't give us hearsay, because he's not here to say otherwise.
when I spoke to him on Saturday. We had a very nice conversation about open space, and I did have questions which he answered, and for the record.
Okay, so I am going to close the debate on the open space millage. If any member of this body wishes to bring it back in whatever incarnation they would like, they're welcome to do so on the August 10th board meeting. So,
And I'll be bringing some things on BPAC and REC and DPS, just
Okay.
for the record.
all right, so we are moving on to the recreation millage renewal. So I move that the Grosse Ile Township Board hereby adopts the following language to be sent for review to the Wayne County with the intent to be placed on the November 2026 ballot general election. Essentially, it is a millage renewal for the recreation program at 0.4818 mils or 48 cents per $1,000 of taxable value. It will be,
Get a second?
oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It'll be levied for a period of 5 years from 2026 to 2030, with the 2030 being inclusive. It provides for the operation of the Township Recreation Program, raising an estimated $400,000 in the first calendar year this millage is levied, in which a portion collected will be dispersed to the Grosse Ile Township Downtown Development Authority and Brownfield Authority as legally required. So, any debate on the renewal of the Recreation Program millage?
So the only thing I would say, because I think rec is extremely integral to this community. I know there are people that don't agree with that. Perhaps they don't have children, or perhaps they don't leverage some of the senior events. There are a considerable amount. I just went to one recently, and I went to one around Christmas time, and they do a phenomenal job, the rec department, rec commission. The only concern I have, and it's kind of irrelevant to this, but I'm going to say it once more just for the heck of it. It's very, very important as a monetized department, if you will, that we really make sure that we are letting our community members know about events, and we do it in an efficient way. And we have a lot of great flyers that go out separately, but it would be really nice to have like one-stop shopping, a list of what we'd call at work a one-pager, where you list out the events for the month and put them in the newsletter, put them on social media, put them wherever you want. But it's just a great place for, seniors and parents they can run a copy of it, put it on their refrigerator, and there it is. But other than that, I think REC does a phenomenal job. I think they're kind of an unsung group that doesn't get enough recognition, and I do appreciate the work that they do. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. And I take your point well. I mean, the
I'm not
township.
trying to complain. I just
No,
I
it's
think
a good point.
for
It's a good
people.
point, right?
Yeah.
Like we could consolidate the various flyers and websites and all that better than we do.
Just because you want to get as many people into your
Sure,
events as
sure.
possible.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a fair constructive criticism. So is there any further debate?
May I just throw out the irony that if we had a communication commission filled with communication members, we could do those things that you just suggested, Margaret.
Actually, that's completely untrue because we put all that information in the newsletter, and we don't need to waste 4 other people's time to do something like that because there's nothing they could do.
Well, you're in violation of the ordinance that
No,
says.
we're not.
Let's stay focused
We're not
on the
in
rec
violation of
millage.
Maybe we can hear your good friend that wants to be in it.
All right. And so the rec millage. All
I do
right.
have a comment on that.
All right.
That's 0.5 mils. The open space, which was really important to people, was only 0.1 mils. If rec is 0.5 mils, why couldn't you go down to 0.4 mils? If the mills are too high, take a mill off. Why is open space the only one that is an issue? Take a mill
Well,
off.
no one asked to reduce open space's millage. We asked you to change the
You were saying it was
language.
high too. You were saying the mills are high, we need to.
No, the
come
total
back.
millage is high. And
Right.
so if we want to, I don't want to get into that too much, but this board has the authority to reduce the levies.
Right.
So if we want to, we can meet after this and after the people have passed or not passed, whatever millages they want, and we can deleverage millages.
Why
right?
not do it now, though? You were talking about
Well,
this out front, why not
I
cut
got
this
some
back to
answers to
0.4?
that.
So-
Recreation is not a requirement, it's not public safety, it's a want, it's not a need. So why
Sure.
not cut it back a tenth?
Well, I never tried to cut your millage out and reduce the amount for open space, and I'm not going to accept a reduction for this is a renewal. This isn't a new one. We
Right.
can't even adjust it, otherwise it's no longer a renewal.
But what I'm hearing is my proposals and Margaret's were being cut back and discussed, but none of yours. And if the mills are way too high, we should be looking at every single one to cut them back. And
Okay.
rec is a want, it's not a need. And so 1/5 of that, cut it back.
And what do you propose?
0.4 instead of 0.5.
This is on the rec, right?
I mean, out of all of them, recreational, take a tenth out. You can still get a lot done, you can be more efficient, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to accept that because it would make it no longer renewal and it would be a new millage, but I take your point. So is there further debate on the rec millage? Okay, so then this is a renewal for 5.5 mils, sorry, not 5 mils. Reduced to 0.4818 mils by required Headley millage rollbacks to be renewed at 0.4818 and levied for a period of 5 years. 2030 being the last inclusive year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. So we have one, just Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it was a late eye, sorry.
Okay, Mark in opposition. All right. So that carries. Okay, and this one's me again. I move that the Township Board hereby adopts the following language to be sent for review to Wayne County with the intent to be placed on the November 2026 ballot of the general election ballot regarding the millage renewal for bicycle pedestrian pathway.
Second?
Okay, so this is the pathway millage. So Grosse Ile has over 10 miles of bike paths in various states of repair, and honestly, in some places, it's not in phenomenal shape. It's expensive to maintain. The Grow Road and South Point section that was just repaved cost $250,000. In addition, BPAC has really been good stewards of this money and tried to stretch the maintenance dollars as far as they can, as far as making sure the wood bridges are working, doing the gap filling and things like that. So I think as far as the voters go, this is they're getting their value's worth out of this particular millage. In addition, the trails have enabled us to connect to other outside the island trails through the Bellevue connector, which has opened us up to national and state level grants for maintenance, which we can compete for if we have matching funds in certain ratios. So I ask this board to approve the renewal language for the bike path maintenance at 0.15 mils, which should raise about $119,000 in the first calendar year it's levied.
Second.
Well, I already got it seconded. Yeah, is there any debate though?
So,
I'd want to affirm my support for this. I had a chance to talk with Brian a couple of days ago. We just happened to bump into each other over at the bakery. I think he's got a handle on handling money well, and was somewhat cognizant of some of the very things have been discussing here on various points of view. And so I think it's a responsibly spent dollar he has in his hands. He knows what he's doing.
Okay, thank you.
so is this one that could go to DPS?
I suppose I mean, anything could go to general fund, right? If we could get rid of every single dedicated millage and charge them all out of the general fund. So, yes. However, given that DPS is already paying for the wastewater treatment plant, water pipes, and everything else, I would be surprised if they had the money to maintain the infrastructure that is the bike path system.
But do they have equipment to work on these bike paths?
I don't think so. I don't think they can repave them or anything.
I thought they had some.
On the left.
So it's funny that that was mentioned. While again, I'm all for allowing our community, our residents, taxpayers to vote for these millages. It is up to them to decide. I do think this is one that could be worth reviewing. I believe the DPS budget is more than healthy and probably could contain this, and it would probably be worth reviewing that to see if it is feasible. I guess to, your comment about the iron belt, because I am very concerned about the maintenance of that, because I do know that the DPS, I don't know if they use a bobcat or what it is they use to clear the bike path, but the bike path is much wider than the sidewalk for the iron bell, so I'm not sure how that's going to be managed for maintenance purposes. But if you're saying that you feel that there's a potential for grants for that, depending on the matching available, I guess as long as that's, a for sure situation. But I do think it could be worth reviewing that healthy DPS budget to see if this is somewhere where we could minimize the mills that, are concerning. So that could be something worth looking into.
No, I think that's a good point, Margaret. And like I said, and I think the treasurer echoed the sentiment, or maybe I echoed his sentiment, but this is the township is very tax sensitive right now, and we have a very high millage rate right now. So I think a working group after the election to look at the total financial situation and what millages we could, deleverage to reduce the burden on the taxpayers would be very worthwhile. I would agree with you on that. Anything further?
Yeah, I just want to add to, I agree with what Margaret said as far as allowing the taxpayers to make their decisions, but I think it's also our responsibility up here too to look at these millages, these renewals and these new millages coming up, and maybe reallocate some funds instead of putting more of a burden on the taxpayers that we have here. I know it's a struggle for everybody. It's a struggle for my family, and I know there are a lot of families on this island struggling, and I'm not in favor of renewing or increasing any taxes, with the exception of the fire department, which we already passed. I understand, again, fire department, police department, very expensive to run, and we need to keep moving forward with that for our public safety purposes. But the rest of this, this should be either cutting or removing, in my opinion.
Okay. Any further debate? Okay, let's vote. All in favor of renewal for the bicycle pedestrian pathway, say aye. Aye. And opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, sounds like the nays have it.
Well, let's do a roll
I think you need roll call.
Yeah, do a roll call.
Me neither.
Okay. We'll do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Margaret,
Aye.
Mark,
Nay.
Kevin,
Aye.
Mickey,
Nay.
Bill?
Explain me, I'm listening to this mop flop and I.
Okay, so we have one yes.
What does yes mean versus no? That's.
So there needs to be 4 yeses for this to pass.
Yes.
So, and right now there's 1 yes.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Kevin, did you vote yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I should check with you. Kevin voted yes? Kevin voted yes, so there's 2 yeses. You would make the 3rd yes, and then I would become the deciding vote.
There were 3 no's.
Yes.
Did you change?
Yes, okay, yes to Bill, and then I will vote yes. So the millage renewal for the bicycle and pedestrian pathway passes.
So the vote changed.
It was a roll call vote. I'm not sure what it was prior to that.
I couldn't either, honestly.
There were 3 no's. It changed.
Okay. Well, we will move on to the Transit Authority millage resolution.
Okay. Keep going till you get the right vote.
Jeez.
Okay. So the resolution in opposition of the Wayne County Transit Millage 2026 ballot proposal. Whereas the Wayne County Transit Authority voted to place before the electorate of Wayne County on either the August 2026 election.
Second.
Oh, does a resolution?
You would need a second. You don't have to read the whole thing in the record. You could say reference it, but it does need a second.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Bill.
Sorry. I guess it's really, I'm going to highlight some of these at the very least. I think they're very important. I want people to hear them, so I'm going to torture you all. You're welcome. Whereas the transit millage will fund the Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, or SMART, which operates transit services in southeast Michigan. Whereas between 1994 and 2024, Wayne County communities had the right to opt out of the transit millage, and the Township of Groseal did in fact opt out. The legislature in a lame duck session in 2024 passed House Bill 6088 on strict party lines, which removed the right of Wayne County communities to opt out of future transit millages. 17 counties within Wayne County who had opted out are now opted in. I'm not going to go through all of this to save everybody, heartache who's, not thrilled with me right now, but I do want to point out that the not smart people who I appreciate attending and providing additional information, the pension fund is very concerning to me. So we are in a range of 20 million to 72 million. And that's legacy costs that could be the responsibility and is the responsibility of taxpayers under this transit millage. To me, that's very concerning. Wayne County taxpayers, we already subsidize 97% of SMART. That's huge. So I won't go through all of this. Everybody can read it, but I urge people to read through this. And I just want to say, I understand that there is some benefit to some of Wayne County residents in other communities, but we're at the point where we seem to struggle for some to support public safety within this community. So with all due respect, I personally do not find it selfish to provide information to assist voters with additional details and express concern as to how this millage made it to the ballot. Additionally, I'm bringing this resolution to this board not as a complaint as what was said, but because keeping residents informed was a promise I made from my campaign, and I continually want to make sure I follow that promise. So thank you, Jameson.
Thank you, Margaret. Is there other comments?
I would like to, and I'm just going to read my notes here. It appears clear that the intent of the resolution is to engage in expressed advocacy with taxpayer money rather than inform voters about factual information. Section 57 of the Mission Campaign Finance Act is let me go to that. Prohibits use of taxpayers paid, use of taxpayer money paid for and resources being used to influence voters. The exception is that the municipality can provide factual information designed to educate and inform all citizens. The PAC that is here this evening, meeting that spoke earlier, is an advocacy organization seeking to defeat the ballot initiative. The Township Board's resolution should not include any statement that the Township Board cannot independently certify as being a fact. My question is, who certified that all the language in the resolution is factually accurate? Did our township attorney approve this to be put, approve it, period? I am not in favor of this. I am not supporting it personally. The better idea is for the Township Board to have a study session that has an independent expert on the millage present to present factual information if there is a desire by the Township Board to educate the public and voters about the ballot initiative. Part of what Margaret said was she is wants to give the residents the opportunity to determine how your members, how the board of local government align or not on this topic. So I think that to put people on the spot, I understand that, as I said, I'm not in favor of it. I don't think the wording of it is aligns with state law, or at least it should be reviewed by our attorney.
So I have a quick question. Margaret, this language is the same, essentially the same resolution language Not Smart is using with other communities, right?
So other communities have read through that same language, correct? So Riverview, I'm sorry, not Riverview, Gibraltar and Rockwood, thank you. And just as a point of reference also to correct, nowhere did I state that anybody up here, in fact, I said it very early on, you do not need to agree with me. My goal was not to say that anybody up here is supporting this, but I wanted to make sure that people, the residents who would be voting on this, have more information in front of them available.
You stated in print that you wanted the board to see if they align.
You're welcome to vote yes or no.
Well,
That's
my
your
question
choice.
is, Mr.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was this approved or reviewed by our township solicitor?
No.
That's the answer. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on the resolution?
Let's just vote.
Okay.
Well,
Bill?
Let me think a minute.
Okay.
I can't remember the question I had on my head.
So,
Let it go.
okay. So we will put this to a
We're going to
vote.
vote, all right.
And because it is a resolution, it must be a roll call vote. Remember,
Oh, I do, pardon me, I just came back. That's good.
okay.
I've got a question. How many people will be voting on this village issue, the transit? And of that group, how many will be like Plymouth and Grove Seal and the people like that? What percentage of the total vote will that be?
Well, there were 17 communities that were forced back in, but otherwise it's all of Wayne County, Bill.
Okay, so my question then, Margaret, is what's the size of the vote for all of Wayne County affirming? And how much do these other 17 communities get in their negative? What's the proportions we're looking at?
I'm not really sure because honestly, we're not even positive Detroit is in the affirmative because Detroit pays, they have DDOT, right? That's their busing system. So it's hard, I mean, I can't begin to guess how somebody's gonna vote.
There's 1.5 million registered voters in Wayne County.
Right.
My concern again is that this is not, the language here is not in alignment with state law.
Okay.
Because
All
you're
right.
an attorney?
I believe the folks from Not Smart actually helped clear up a few things. Again, I appreciate you guys showing up, and thank you for making the statements and comments you did.
Yes, thank you.
Other communities have done this too. I'll stop. I'm done.
Well, I think that's a good point, Mark. A good good point, Mark. I mean, as smaller communities within the Wayne County ecosystem, the only way we really avoid being essentially just bullied by the higher voter count communities is by banding together, right? So I think that's a great point by the Not Smart people, and I do appreciate you guys coming out to this meeting, and obviously you've got some good facts and figures, and you've done some research. So I suppose is there any further discussion on the issue? And I would remind everyone, this is a resolution,
Yes.
right? So it's not binding,
No.
right? We're not saving the taxpayers from potentially having to pay this millage. We're just expressing to Wayne County, the state, and our constituents that we're not happy about this, I guess, is the simplest way to put it.
Thank you for
Well,
that.
it also says that we are supposed to send this resolution to all of look at the list of political figures on this. And what other communities voted on may not be the same language that has been put together here, and not reviewed by our legal counsel.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks on there.
And I have no problem. Like I said, it's a yes or it's a no. It doesn't bother me either way. My concern was more making sure our community was clear on the information.
Would you take a friendly
No,
amendment?
I won't.
Well, the friendly amendment, you won't do that?
Well, at least she's not going to agree to it before you tell her what it is. So tell her what the amendment is. And
Well, the friendly amendment is just say, we can vote as a board and say we don't like it. We don't have to put together a resolution. We can just say we don't like it. We feel that it's,
I mean, that is what a resolution is, more or less.
we don't have to, we can just say we disagree with it, and all the other,
You want to
language.
remove the language that says we're going to send it to.
lettuce, there's lots of junk in there.
Okay.
It's, again, not approved by our township attorney. I don't know that it aligns with,
I'll simplify this. No, I won't.
okey-doke.
Okay. Any other comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna just throw one last nickel on this.
Okay.
I don't disagree with the observations that are being made here. But the world isn't perfect. There are no shoulds really in life when you go through it and get down to the bottom of it. I don't believe that enough votes can be amassed to throw this thing out. It's a protest that is being expressed. But what do you get when the protest is done? Now, I happen to be sitting here concerned about the bridge like someone else talking here was. I haven't gotten my concerns out of nowhere. I have literally read documents that exceed a 30-year period when nothing was being done when the federal and state governments were telling them they should do things. I'm not unaware of the fact that pensions and I can't remember the name, it was the guy that handled the bankruptcy for Detroit. He hired some guy from Washington, D.C., they did an audit of the circumstance, and for every 10 people on the payroll, they had 8 that weren't necessary. And we're paying for those people. What I'm getting at is that right now we have a cooperative relationship that's a breath of fresh air, and I don't want to lose that. What I don't want to lose is being stuck with running a toll for our citizens here for 9 months because we didn't get the use of something sooner. Cooperation helps things go. And we have that working in spades right now. And I think that that's the biggest reason that motivates me for this, and I just want to make that clear. These other things are important in a way. But when you're making a decision on what needs to be done, you got to be aware of the circumstance, and this thing is not whistle clean. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Is there any other debate? All right, then we're going to vote. Bill, if you vote yes on this and we get 4 votes, it passes. Not telling you directly, Bill, but everybody. And Bill, your first to vote.
Yes.
Mickey?
Yes, we send it, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. My
Okay,
vote is
Kevin?
yes.
Let me pass, please.
I'll have to come back to you. Mark?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So it carries unanimously. All right, and then our final action item for the evening, the sale of the ambulance.
Seeking approval to sell the Grosedale Fire Department 2009 Braun ambulance. I need a second.
Second?
Okay. The 2009 ambulance, formerly Bravo 1672, has been removed from service since we got the new ambulance in May of this year. As a result, this ambulance is now surplus and should be sold. It was originally purchased in 2009 using the fire department equipment funds, so the proceeds will be deposited back into the fire department equipment account. Approval is requested to sell the ambulance as is, with the sale being final. We say as is, but all the equipment has been taken off, the radios, the stretchers, anything of value has been taken off. We originally tried to see what we would get for trade-in value when we bought the new ambulance. They were only willing to give us 14 grand, so we put it on a service that's used to sell this type of equipment. It sat for about 3 months, and we had some people reach out and ask questions, but we didn't get a bite until recently, and we're selling it. We got a bite for 24 grand, and so we want to go ahead and sell it. So just asking for approval to do so.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay. So we are approving the final sale for $24,000.
Yes.
Okay.
So he basically told the guy, because you know you do it through one of those services, he said it'd be contingent on the board approving it tonight, approving the sale.
Yeah, it's just that the money, the monies to be received isn't listed in here. So are we delegating that approval, or?
It will be getting 24 grand.
Okay, so can we amend your recommendation to say seeking approval to sell the Grosedale Fire Department 2009 Braun ambulance for $24,000 contingent upon the approval of, well, I guess it's not contingent on anything.
I would say roughly 24 grand, because what if it comes out to be in 9 cents or something?
Not less than $22,000.
I think the original purposes of this was to give the fire department the ability to sell it.
Okay, because that's
That's all it was.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then I guess if
And
we
yes,
do
they may
sell-
already have somebody possibly lined up, but
They're
for
just
them to be
asking.
able to even do it, they need your approval to.
All right, that makes more sense. Okay, so we are approving them to list the ambulance for sale.
Yes.
Okay.
To
all right.
actually physically, to sell it, not just to list, but to sell
And
it.
to sell, yes.
Okay, and I guess then my question is, who decides what deal to accept? Is it the chief? Is it the fire commission?
The chief will decide, but they already got a buyer lined up. But the
Okay,
chief will
all right.
decide, and he's gonna get roughly 24 grand.
Okay, so it's just someone, we just want to identify who's going to be the steward of taxpayer dollars. So it's the
The
chief.
chief.
Okay. All right, then I have no other questions. I don't know if anybody else does.
No.
All right. Seeking approval to sell the ambulance. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We will go into discussion items. There's none. And then the clerk's report, I'll hold my report till the end. And the treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report for July 27th, 2026. The treasurer's office has been busy collecting summer tax payments. Summer 2026 property taxes are due September 14th of 2026. Please be aware that the treasurer's office cannot accept post-dated checks as payments for property tax payments or any other payments that are being made to the township. Extension of the summer tax due date is available for those who qualify. The deferment application must be submitted by September 14th, 2026. Summer tax deferment applications are available at the treasurer's office. Approved deferments will extend the September 14th due date to February 16th, 2027. And let's see, I wanted to mention that the DPS and, I don't know whether this is on the clerk's report, but Wayne County and the DPS department supervisor, they put out a press release saying that they have a contractor for the Swan Island Bridge, and that work is supposed to start sometime soon, if not this week.
It's started. I can talk about that, yep.
Okay, you have the details. The 2020 celebration at Centennial Farm this past Saturday, I'd like to, it was attended, well attended, a very nice event. I would like to thank the Groseal Historical Society and its president Karen Cozy and the Recreation Commission for coordinating a great event. Elected officials that were there included Congresswoman Dingell, State Senator Camilleri, and Representative Linting, who said that she was, her expectations had been exceeded by what a nice event it was. So I think that's everything. Thank you for paying your taxes.
Yes, we all love paying our taxes.
Just wait for the next one.
All right, trustees' reports, we'll start with Mickey.
For the fire department, so like I said, Bob is out, checking out the area or the truck today, and if he finds anything, they'll fix it, and then he'll be driving it back, and so, we'll get that set up for you to be able to see soon. The next meeting for the fire commission is August 13. For open space, I'm gonna push that DPS just pay for any trees that come down or anything like that. Our August 4th meeting is canceled. We don't have that, even though it's on the meeting website. We do have an August 6th study session. We were going to talk about the upcoming millage. Since we won't have a millage, I'm not sure that may be canceled as well. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Margaret?
So really quick, I just want to address the public comment, misinformation about millage signage. The campaign law that applies to signs for ballot initiatives like a millage are allowed by law to not have a paid for by tag with address on a sign if a singular person has purchased them and they have purchased over $100 worth. Now, if a singular person has purchased over 100, they have a form that they have to submit to the county. If a singular person purchases under $100, there is no form, nothing has to be done, and there's nothing illegal about not having purchase by on those signs. The signs still do not require a paid for tag, is my point. This applies to any single person purchasing. So while it seems that certain people, along with some members of the Groseal Civic Taxpayer Association, continue to question this, there is nothing illegal about the signs that have gone up throughout the community. I know multiple members who have purchased signs, and there are multiple individual finance reports that have been submitted, and I'm sure there are some that have not, because there are people that purchase small amounts, small dollar amounts. This is not against the law. While feelings may apply to some, the law supersedes those feelings. And if somebody wants to look this up, it's MCL section 169.247. And there were multiple attorneys who confirmed this is all correct. Thank you. And please make sure you get out there and vote.
Okay, Bill?
I sit on the Airport Commerce Park Commission and the Planning Commission. Airport Commerce Park is just blooming with vibrancy. There's a lot of things going on. I can't say enough praise for Janelle and what she has done with that group, and the contacts she has made, and the relationships she has sustained that are helpful and provide synergy to what they need. Planning Commission, I have no report on that at this time. That's it.
All right, and don't forget the Mobility Summit,
Oh, well,
29th.
29th.
Yeah, so the Mobility Summit will be here at Township Hall and in the hangar. It's going to involve several members of industry. And that's correct, right, Bill?
Yes, that's a big deal. She's got this thing going, there's things happening here that are there's a lot, okay?
And so it's open to the public after 12:30. Before 12:30, it's an industry roundtable, but it's my understanding they will be unveiling the very first Tesla semi-truck here in Grosse Ile. So
Exactly.
we're gonna be
It's that
we're gonna
kind
be
of stuff that's
we're gonna be
going on.
Tesla famous. So all right, thank you, Bill. Mark.
I said on the zoning board of appeals, we did have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, but that has been canceled. That was canceled sometime about a week and a half ago. I just want to reiterate what I was talking about earlier when it comes to the renewals, the millage renewals and the new tax. It's not that I'm against any of these commissions. It's just that at this point in time, with our current economic state, as has already been brought out, everybody's very tax conscious. Everybody's very property tax conscious. And it's affecting a lot of families, mine included. So my decisions tonight on those particular items were simply, we as a board or we as a township can't just keep throwing stuff out there for people just to keep voting on and maybe voting up and voting up and voting up their taxes every year. It's part of our responsibility to see what we can just reallocate. Public safety is an expensive item for us to handle, and I think as opposed to some of these other renewals coming up, we should probably take a harder look at how we can reallocate some of those funds to our police and fire. Other than that, I've got nothing else. Oh, the summit, the mobility summit coming up here. That sounds like it's going to be really a really good event. I'm looking forward to that too. I hope I get off work early enough to enjoy some of it. So everybody come on out and take a look at that. Some new and exciting technology coming out, and I think Grosse Ile being the first one to unveil the Tesla semi-truck. It's a pretty
It's pretty
amazing
cool.
thing. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So, and
Okay.
that would be it for my report.
Thank you, Mark. I think Bill had an alibi.
Your remarks stimulated my memory of one last remark that I wanted to make about the circumstance you discussed. There are people who are very well known in the financial community who are very concerned about the financial future of this country. The people that I'm bringing to mind are Jamie Dimon, head man at J.P. Morgan Chase, Lloyd Blankfein, former head of Goldman Sachs. The issues he's coming up with are, if you look at the nation as a whole and compare it to an individual, our income is less than our debt. Our loan payments cost more than our income. We're in a tough spot with that. And what that means for us, as I see it, and why I have been so cautious here and not necessarily a smiley guy, is that you have a situation where some of these grants that we have been accustomed to getting aren't going to be there. And that's something else that has to be taken into consideration when a global decision is being made. The situation is very serious, and I wanted to make that clear. Those comments by Diamond were a couple weeks ago, just recently by Lloyd Blankfein. But those guys have credentials. They're well respected. They didn't get where they were with nothing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Okay, there is no township manager present, so there won't be a township manager report unless Derek's left Brian with some comments or anything. Okay. All right, which leaves me. So I did attend the 250th. Kevin was there, and it was a pretty good event, right? It was a beautiful ceremony. So special thanks to the Recreation Commission, the Historical Society, Grosse Ile and Ford Yacht Clubs, the Garden Club, Knights of Columbus, Rotary, and Island Girls Bike Gang for all pulling together and make that happen. The whole thing was very much volunteer driven. The township didn't invest a bunch of money and hire a bunch of professionals or anything to do it. But I think that was important, right? That it was the community coming together to put on an event to celebrate 250 years of us being us, right? So that was great. Kevin did mention several of the local elected officials that showed up, including our our national congresswoman, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. And she actually brought a plaque, which we've sent over to the Historic Society, and we might want to get a copy of it, Brian. but it is a speech she gave on the House floor to the Speaker of the House commemorating Grosse Ile and our history and the 250 years that we've essentially been the the gateway to the Detroit water system, including, our participation in the War of 1812, the rise of Detroit, our contributions to naval aviation throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s, which I imagine there's still people living on the island that very much remember that. So it was a very nice speech, and it was very nice for her to take time to come out to our event. And regardless of what you as a voter may consider about a person's party affiliation or whatever, she's a very busy woman, regardless of which party she's in, and attending a event where there's less than 5,000 voters probably isn't the kind of thing that gets you reelected. It's the kind of thing you do because, those kind of things matter and matter to the people of those communities. So it's nice of her to do that. Senator Camilleri spent a long time with us, Congresswoman Linting, so it was good. Swan Island. There's probably Swan Island residents watching right now waiting for this moment. So construction has started on your bridge. It should be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Weather, God, construction timelines, and everything else willing, and it will return the bridge to its previous 33-ton or 66,000-pound weight limit that will enable, garbage trucks and other delivery services and whatnot to cross the bridge again. So that's good news. On the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee front, the trail work on Bellevue heading north on West River to the bridge is progressing rapidly. I'm grateful for that because I know it's disturbing to the residents that use that road and to the operations over at Water's Edge. We do need to address a section of the trail that meets with the Grosse Ile Golf and Country Club cart path, and we will. I want the Grosse Ile Golf and Country Club to see me saying that on the record. We're going to get signs. We're talking about doing a turnout. We'll find a way to make it happen. So just know your concerns are not falling on deaf ears. And that trail has utility for us, right? I know it's kind of a pain having it going in right now, but it's not just safely to convey people to the bridge and across. And I mentioned this earlier. It really does connect us to regional, state, and national trail systems. And that connection allows us to access maintenance grants and expansion grants and that kind of stuff. And hopefully we can, like Margaret said, deleverage some of these millages, if we could get access to more, outside monies. So I will point out that most of it was funded by the Ralph C. Wilson Fund, which is not a government entity. It is an endowment by Ralph C. Wilson, a former businessman. So it actually is mostly not taxpayer funded, and certainly not taxpayer funded by any member of Grosse Ile, other than perhaps in higher echelons of government. We've talked about signs. I get emails and messages and calls about the signs. I know people are concerned about the signs. I have reached out, and I'm not calling you a liar, Margaret. I want to put that out, first of all. But I have reached out to state election offices to ask for specific details about the signs and how the signs are supposed to work and what signs have to be what. And when they get back to me, I will take whatever or take no action, depending on the information they give me. So I guess what I'm saying is I hear you about the signs. I'm not going to make a knee-jerk reaction based on the emotions of people that may or may not be feeling one way or the other. I'm going to make a good decision or no decision if there's no decision to make a decision about. So I guess that's clear as mud. Finally, I do think we need to seriously consider as a township 2 things. One, putting together a working group to deleverage some of our taxes heading into FY27, because I think the community is going to feel it and they're not going to like it. I think the second thing we need to do is put together another working group that's going to look at our future expenses, because I think Bill is right. If we're asking for more money to cover our expenses now, how are we going to cover our expenses in 10 or 20 years when we're paying the retirements for the people that we can't pay for now? Which is a vast oversimplification, but I do think that needs to be a group that digs into things. And if we find out, hey, we're completely solvent and doing a great job, we don't need to change anything, wonderful. So that concludes my report. Public comment. 3 minutes. Kathy. Kathy. Name and address when you get to the microphone. Do I need to time you, or you've got it down at this point? Okay.
Kathy Walker, 26051 Thorpe Court. The Taxpayer Association, which seems to be mentioned and living in some people's brains or my heads, is in support of the idea of bringing the police road crew back to 24. I've mentioned it. I've asked them. I've asked the police commission chair. His response was, well, we don't know. But however, there has been no promise or definite commitment to use the proposed increase millage money to restore to the 25 road crew. To me, that's really a problem. And I think it's a problem to a lot of people, especially as we've all heard tonight. A lot of people are hurting. A lot of people, they don't want to pay any more taxes. So, whatever. But for the 24, yes, but I have never heard anybody commit to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other members of the public? And a letter? We'll take the letter last.
All right, Roberta Urbani, 29815 East River. So I just want to say, all this concern about taxes, I am not feeling cavalier about taxes, and I do appreciate the fact that affordability is a big issue. I just want to point out who is being cavalier about affordability. Gas prices are high because of some President Trump's war of choice and his completely unconcern with what the American people are facing, let alone, people in the rest of the world. That's all I want to say. I am concerned about keeping costs low for our residents and making things affordable.
Thank you, Bert. Anyone else? Brian.
All right, Clarice Graham Rucker, yet another embarrassing performance. The constant negative comments and mistreatment directed towards women on the board feels very personal and does not reflect what this woman and many watchers think. We as women must support other women. The women from my generation fought hard to ensure that future generations of women would have the opportunity to serve in leadership roles like these. I am sick and tired of women getting the brunt of it. The internalized misogyny is very real and alive on the island. We also have to recognize that no one can be expected to endure constant negativity, Facebook attacks, and disrespect without eventually reacting. I am not surprised when people reach a breaking point after repeatedly being subjected to misogynistic behavior and women who don't support fellow women due to being green. I always taught my children that responsibility belongs to everyone. Stop spinning wheels and do better, people. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Brian. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So unanimously adjourn the meeting at 9:12.
What?
I said we could agree on.